Tonight, approval for another solar farm near Whyalla. And a marriage milestone for a couple in Port Augusta.
This is Southern Cross News with Alison Drower.
Hello, thanks for joining us this evening. First to Port Augusta, and Flinders Power is confident a new cover crop and dust suppressant will control summer dust outbreaks on the power station site. The company has completed trials of the products and say that there are positive signs for the hotter months ahead.
In the hotter summer months, thermal winds have fueled dust outbreaks on this site, although a new recipe could help keep the topsoil at ground level.
Looking at a cover crop and also looking at what we can do with suppressant, and a suppressant that will allow permeability for the rain to get through.
Trials have found the combination of barley and rye and selective use of dust suppressant will help promote growth and manage high-risk dust areas. The cover crop has already been planted on the outer tracks, and seed should start to germinate over spring and act as a brick wall to any summer dust events.
That growth should give us the ability to trap any of the dust.
96% of the 270 hectare site is now covered by topsoil. Work is ongoing to fill in the remaining gaps. The company is holding talks with SA Water about the possibility of trialling flows from the adjacent effluent plant to aid revegetation.
But natural rain is the best solution, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for more rain.
And it seems it won't be long before the iconic power station stack topples to the ground. The demolition is expected in November. GARTH, BURLEY, Southern Cross News.
Adani has received pre-construction approval to develop a solar plant just outside of Whyalla. Council has welcomed the announcement, but it is not certain that the project will still go ahead. John Hunt has more.
Adani's interest in building a solar plant near Whyalla was one of the few bright spots during Ariam's administration. 2 years on from that initial interest, its plans have moved a step closer to becoming reality. The company's received pre-construction approval for the multi-million-dollar project. Situated 10 k's outside of Whyalla, it'll produce up to 140 megawatts a year. In a statement, Adani says it's looking forward to providing cheaper, cleaner energy, and also hinted there could be more to come. Council CEO Chris Cowley says it's a vote of confidence in the region.
Consolidates the fact that we are a focal point for solar investment in the state, but it also means about 150 jobs during construction.
However, there's no time frame on construction. Adani says it's still negotiating a power purchase agreement and won't make a final decision until at least September. Mr. Cowley says council wants him to make a decision as soon as possible.
Our words to them are always encouraging, but we want to see action sooner rather than later.
So while it's a positive move, there's still a few boxes left to tick. If the project receives board approval, Adani says work will begin next year.
A teenager will be extradited from Broken Hill to Victoria in coming days after being arrested during a traffic stop in Sulphide Street yesterday. The 17-year-old was pulled over, with police discovering that he was wanted in relation to several alleged serious offences in Victoria. SAB's Frank Pangello is currently making his way around the region, visiting and listening to drought-affected farmers in the state's north.
Touring the region, listening to locals and seeing firsthand the havoc this year's drought has caused around Burra.
To meet up with farmers there so they can tell us what's happening and what they need and what sort of help that they're going to need to try and overcome the situation they find themselves in.
East of Burra in the pastoral region there, I'm hearing lambing figures of anywhere between 10 and 20%, which is a huge impact, and it's not just the impact of now, it's the impact going forward.
It's all about giving a voice to those farmers who feel the drought is being hijacked as a city issue.
There doesn't seem to be anything that's being said about the north and the east state of South Australia, and they are really impacted, and something needs to happen about it.
They've got a voice in the city and in Parliament, because sometimes people tend not to listen to people in regional areas, particularly politicians.
SA Best has launched Hey You, a fundraising initiative to provide a semi-trailer load of hay for every farmer experiencing real hardship.
Trying to raise $9,500 to secure hay bales, and these bales will then be transported to farmers and others that are doing it tough during the drought.
You can make a donation by going to the Buy a Bale website. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Port Lincoln's hottest restaurant in town, The Line and Label, has won another award, this time for the team that designed its stunning exterior.
The awards and accolades just keep on coming for Port Lincoln's premier restaurant, and this time it's the builders and designers of the masterpiece receiving the recognition.
It's been amazing to actually have all of these national restaurant awards, but now to be recognised for this beautiful creation from a building perspective is absolutely wonderful.
The first awards came for the project designers at the SA Design Excellence Awards, which came as a surprise.
We've been receiving awards previously, but most of them have been residential, so yeah, this time to get something in the commercial zone, that was great.
Local builder Kim Clark Constructions took home its 8th Commercial Building Award, paying homage to the noise reduction elements in the restaurant's design.
The brief was make sure you get the acoustics right. Well, we've done a lot of research on it and we nailed it. The acoustics in this project are unbelievable, and that was a big contribution to why we also won the award.
The award also recognised the attention to detail with extensive timber work and almost 20,000 individually cut stones, a complex build that relied on teamwork.
The craftsmanship and the attention to detail that went into every piece of wood, every bit of stone, every detail. I was pretty meticulous about what I wanted to achieve with Peter, so they made it happen.
These buildings, you've got to have the right client, and Peter and Diana were wonderful.
So if you haven't had the chance to see the masterpiece for yourself, head on up and book yourself a table here at the Line and Label. Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, we meet the Port Augusta couple celebrating 70 years of marriage. That's next on Southern Cross News. Welcome back. Our annual chance to donate some money for cancer research rolls around again tomorrow. Volunteers will be out in Port Pirie and other centres selling daffodils to raise thousands of dollars for the Cancer Council.
Celebrating the symbol of hope for everyone affected by cancer.
27 South Australians will hear the words "you have cancer" on a daily basis. And that's just under 10,000 people a year who are diagnosed with cancer.
The stats are still too high. 1 in 2 people will be diagnosed by the age of 85. 30% of those cancers are preventable. All money raised from Daffodil Day goes towards vital research and hopefully a cancer-free future.
If it hadn't been for research in the past, I would probably be dead.
And research is really important because everyone probably knows somebody in their family, a friend that has suffered with cancer.
Volunteers in Port Pirie will be selling a range of merchandise at the Woolies and Coles car park tomorrow.
A bunch of bright daffodils for sale tomorrow, and we'd love to see you down there buying a bunch and helping cancer research at the same time.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
The countdown is on with 100 days until the Port Pirie annual Christmas pageant. This year's theme will be Silver Spectacular, and registrations are now open for local businesses, community groups and schools to be part of this year's pageant. All you have to do to register your float or a stall is just drop by the Port Pirie Tourism Centre and register your details. UniSA's Whyalla campus will be open this weekend to anyone who wants to think about starting a career or maybe just wants to change their professional lives. John Hunt has this report.
From high school students to adults looking for a career change, getting that uni degree is often expected by most professions. This Sunday, UniSA is urging new students to drop by and see what's available in courses for next year.
We're going to have the expertise and students here as well to talk to people about their pathways, and also the opportunity to enrol and apply.
Staff and students will lead tours of the campus, and you'll also be able to check out accommodation available. Technology has also improved online learning options.
The facilities here are available to both internal and external students. We have wonderful technology, high-speed internet, great support services.
Last year's graduates all successfully secured work in their field, as Regional SA cries out for more professionals to fill crippling shortages. Mr Havelberg says studying regional is a good start.
Have a look at what we've got to offer here and speak to the staff and students about, their pathways and career options as well.
The open day happens Sunday from 11 a.m. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Well, in this day and age of digital dating and high divorce rates, a couple in Port Augusta appears to know what makes for a long and happy marriage. Pat and Tom Carter are celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary, and Garth Burley joined the family celebrations.
70 years married and still very much in love. Tom and Pat still coming to terms with having been married for 7 decades.
I can't believe it's 70 years today, honestly. 70 years.
These two local lovebirds are celebrating their platinum wedding anniversary.
I am very proud to have got a great family.
The two met in their 20s at a local church dance, although Pat admits it wasn't exactly love at first sight.
The cheeky thing, he danced with me a couple of times, asked me could he walk me home, and I said no.
Like any marriage, the couple admits they've had their rough patches, but a strong bond has seen them through the worst. And their secret to a long and happy marriage?
Be tolerant of each other, accept what mistakes one will make, because you yourself are not perfect.
The big question the two face now, how much longer can the innings continue? You've made the platinum, and do you think you'll make 10 more years for the oak?
Oh, goodness me.
Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I doubt it very much.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
A Whyalla cyclist has set a new national record at the Under-19 World Championships. Lee Hoffman represented Australia at the championships in Switzerland. He set the record in the 200-metre qualifying event with a time of 10.37 seconds, but Lee just missed out on a medal, finishing 4th. Hoffman, who trained at the Whyalla Cycling Club, also finished 6th in the Keren. Well, Port Pirie Regional Art Gallery has opened the doors on a new exhibit, taking arts and crafts to a whole new level. Fibre Space explores different types of textiles and techniques, showcasing many local artists.
It's a sight for the senses, with over 50 brightly coloured and textural masterpieces lining the walls of the gallery. Artists were tasked with a theme to interpret any way they wanted, and the result is now all a part of Fibre Space.
All the way around there's a theme called Dabulous or naturally tech savvy, so they all think about what that theme will mean, and then they bring the exhibition together at the end.
Fibre Space artists used a range of raw and synthetic materials to reflect a unique work of art. The creator of this patchwork statement piece, titled Kevin, has drawn on the theme of finding joy in life.
Patchwork, beading, silk dyeing, hand dyeing, a lot of the dyes have been made.
Throughout the exhibition, you can follow the many conversations between local artists and those from Northern Europe who were invited to share their own personal journeys.
Artists are people that live in the regions from always Port Lincoln, Whyalla, Port Augusta, Quorn, Lily.
The exhibition is all part of the Sala Festival and will be on show until mid-September. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll check in with our regular fish and tipsters, should you be casting a line this weekend.
And with the weekend almost here, I'll have all the local weather details soon.
Welcome back. Well, let's see where they are biting along our coastline this week. It's time for your local fish and tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. This weather's brewing up a little bit. I think we're supposedly going to get a little bit of rain today, but over the weekend I should think that we'll actually go a bit better with our King George whiting. The cool snapper's still around, so the tips are, if we're looking at Eastern Shoal there, go into the Third Creek patches, but go in shallow, you might be able to find some. And I've got a bit of a tip, there's a few snapper floating around in that area too, so you should go well with that.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, the change of season's definitely upon us now. The squid are definitely starting to thin out, so we're trying to stock up on those. The high tides are starting to come in the morning, so try for silver whiting along the shacks. Some big flathead also around. Off the jetty at night, funnily enough as well. King George whiting are out there. They're quite large, but there is also a lot of small ones mixed in with them. And there are salmon trout up around in the Port Patterson area. That's all we have from the Drill of the North.
G'day, welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Lincoln. Starting up around Tumby Bay, there's been some good whiting catches coming from out of the group. There's also been a few squid around the town jetty and a few small bream in the marina. Moving down to Port Lincoln, the afternoon high tides have been producing a few flathead along the north shore. The whiting fishing should start to improve as the weather improves as well. The squid have been quite prolific around the bays. Another boat also returned from Kangaroo Reef on Sunday with a quick bag limit from there too. Moving down to the south coast, there's been a few salmon catches down there. Don't forget that the salmon comp also finishes up next Friday, so if you want to get into it this weekend. That's it for this week. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now time to see what the weather's going to be like with Amy.
Thanks, Ali. There were some showers forecast for most of the region today. 18 the high for Whyalla and Port Augusta, Broken Hill reaching 20, while Port Lincoln sat at 15 degrees. Checking the satellite now, and cloud building over the west and central areas with a low and a cold front is generating showers and isolated thunderstorms. Skies are clear to the east under a weakening high pressure ridge. If you're heading out on the waters tomorrow, southeasterly winds will pick up to 20 knots with seas reaching 1.5 metres. Sunrise is at 6:50 tomorrow, while it will set at 5:55. The sun is returning tomorrow, 21 the top for Port Augusta and Port Pirie, a sunny 17 degrees for Port Lincoln. The chance of showers late into the weekend and early next week around Port Lincoln. Cleve and Woodnut may also have some wet weather on Monday, with maximum sitting in the mid-teens. A sunny weekend ahead in Whyalla before possible showers come through on Monday with a top of 19. Temperatures will sit in the low 20s around Port Augusta leading into the new week. And in Kadina, a fine weekend before predicted showers. A warmer few days coming up in Port Pirie, with Monday still reaching 18 despite the chance of rain. Clare will drop a few degrees heading into early next week with a top of 14. And in Broken Hill, winds should settle by the weekend for a sunny few days. So Ali, it looks like we've got a lovely sunny weekend in front of us.
Thank you, Amy. Well, that is all from the team here at Southern Cross News for tonight. Our Facebook page can keep you up to date for any breaking news across our region, or you can watch these stories again on our YouTube channel. I will see you back on our primary channel tomorrow night at 6:30. Until then, enjoy the rest of your night.